I've seen the worst, and there is nothing left for me to hate, so I can lay me down, my brothers, on the ground. I bled today until Coyote comes to raise me up and carries me
Hello and welcome to the Scottish Rugby Podcast in association with the Scottish Rugby Blog. I'm Craig Manson, and we were meant to be 3, but it looks like we're currently 2 because a Windows update has jumped in and caused us a little bit of issues. So Mark will be joining us in a minute, but joining me tonight is someone who is in favour of sending Welsh fans to Ecuador prisons, Jonny McGinty. Hello, Jonny. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm very good. I like. Did you write that on the hoof when I told you why I was late? Is that
No, not at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
For the record, I should say I was late because I was really caught up watching the very exciting introduction to the Springsteen tour where he talks a lot about sending people to Ecuadorian prisons. I wasn't actually deporting Welsh people.
Ah, right, okay, I'm with you. No, well, you know, Tories do as Tories are, you know, I suppose. But Mark has also joined us tonight, finally, after a bit of an IT issue. And Mark is someone who would accept a free parachute, never mind a plane from the Qatars. How you doing tonight, Mark?
I'm doing very well, thanks, guys.
Have you been watching any introductions to music or live shows?
No. I enjoy Springsteen stuff all right, but I don't know if I get the cult around him.
Oh, you see, I love Springsteen.
Yeah, I like it well enough. But
I have to join the Jonny on Loving Springsteen. Although I have been, I caught a clip of the Tragically Hip on Saturday Night Live when Dan Aykroyd came back, and he insisted that the Tragically Hip were on. Because he came back, and I've actually just refinding my hip love over the. So if anybody is out there who likes a little bit of music, the Tragically Hip from Canada, they are one of my favourites, and I really do love a bit of Tragically Hip. So anyway, up to much, lads. What we've been doing, I've kind of just been busy with work. It's just been kind of mental. Jonny, you've been educating the masses.
I have, yeah. Standard. We did have a very nice coaches and volunteers appreciation evening at the club on Saturday, so that was good fun.
I knew you were going to bring that up. Because
I did tell you should have come.
12 years I was coaching at that club, and I never once got an appreciation night for volunteers. I tell you.
Yeah. It was a two-course sit-down dinner, by the way, Craig.
No, don't just. I was busy. I took my darling wife out for her birthday, so I took her out for a meal. So I was poshing it up. So in St Andrews. So I would have been there anyway. So.
Oh, where'd you go?
It's a place called the Seafood Restaurant. It's basically a big glass box right at the edge of the beach.
I'm desperate to go.
Oh, it's wonderful. It was a lovely, lovely place to go, and the view was spectacular. It was a beautiful night as well. So on last Saturday night, it was weather like it was. like it is today. See, that I'm
So
using
many
today
times,
rather than.
like,
What are you saying, mate? You broke up there, Johnny. Johnny keeps breaking up
Very
because
good.
he's I totally missed that. I don't know what you heard, Mark. He's just totally he's trying to be funny, and his Wi-Fi's letting him down, I think.
I was crediting you, Craig, for making sure you said day.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I did. It's because you know why? Because Alan's not here. That's what it is. He puts me off every time. And Mark, what have you been up to this week?
It's been quite a good week actually. I've had a few business meetings with a potential new client, which would be nice.
Excellent.
So so that's been keeping me amused. Remembering that I actually quite enjoy what I do for a living when I get an opportunity to do it. So it's good.
Yeah, I have to remind myself at the moment because we're so busy, unfortunately, and this is a terrible thing that one of our competitors shut down, and so we've had a 30% increase in our workshop traffic. So, which then knocks on the effect of getting people their new bikes or their used bikes that they bought from us. So we are just on the ragged edge at the moment. So it's been quite, as you could probably have told over the last couple of weeks, I've been kind of a bit.
You've been a wee bit tired.
Wide-eyed and tired. But anyway, right. Well, we are the Scottish Rugby Podcast. And our podcast is part of the Sports Social Network. Don't forget to give us a follow or a like on your favourite podcast app. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to give us a follow on social media. You can find all the links to our site on www.scottishrugbyblog.co.uk. You'll find a lot of nice written pieces as well there regarding everything Scottish Rugby. If you're listening on Apple and like what we do, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. If you like more content and you want to support what we do, you can subscribe to our Patreon and get £2 plus of that, and it gives you access to our super secret Facebook group and the second part of tonight's podcast, where things get a little bit more forthright, as I would say. You probably found out a little bit of that last week, where we just had one podcast and we put a wee warning on it because we were swearing a bit. Because really, when you hear Elliot Daly has been included in the Lions squad, you have to swear a little bit anyway. And as well as Patreon exclusives, you will get if you pay a little bit extra and take part in supporting us. Right, well, better rattle on with the news. We'll start off in the West Coast, Johnny. The latest thing is another Edinburgh reject has gone to Glasgow to become a superstar. Charlie Savala. Via Northampton Saints, Charlie Savala has been signed as a 10 replacement, Johnny. Pretty good signing, actually.
Yeah, I was... I wouldn't say I was blown away when I first saw it this morning. Having said that, I do remember thinking who the Patriot language is Rory Darge when he made the move along, and that's gone pretty well. Savala didn't get a massive opportunity at Saints. I watched quite a lot of Saints, obviously. And yeah, his face never really seemed to fit there. He is obviously competing with England's number 110, so he was never going to be first choice. But yeah, he was a bit underused, I would say. He had a couple of cracking games for Edinburgh. He had a couple of interesting games for Edinburgh. I guess he's the kind of player that we need. You know, he's a good chance to develop into a really good player. Glasgow have done it before. Hopefully they could do it again. Yeah, it wasn't the box office signing that I think some people thought we might have been looking for, but I think he'll do a job. He's a worthy player, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes.
You never know. There might be a box office 10 coming along. You never know. But Mark, Savala, in my mind, I think Glasgow have actually won themselves a wee watch with that. With Savala, I actually think he's because he's been underused, but he's come from the English Premiership champions. He's been spending some time with them in their training. You know, obviously, he spent a lot of time training with them. I think he'll fit right into Glasgow's sort of more keep the ball and play sort of game style than than their the Edinburgh sort of heavy duty forward sort of game style. But what do you think?
No, I tend to agree. I actually liked him when he played for Edinburgh. I was a wee bit disappointed when he moved on, because I thought there was an opportunity that he really could have grown into a role. I don't know how much game time he's been getting at Northampton. Genuinely don't know.
He's been injured for a little while, and he's also, I think he's been third string actually when it comes to that. But
right, okay.
I certainly like what I've seen of him.
Yeah, I think so too. But I do tend to agree with Johnny that I guess I'm slightly surprised that there's nobody a little more box office yet. But yeah, I mean, he's probably as close as they're going to get at the moment to a one-to-one replacement for Tom Jordan.
Yeah, I think it's a weird one because the problem with Tom Jordan is that Tom Jordan, you've got someone who will cover the myriad of different places, and it's quite a physical 10, as we've all talked about. But whereas Charlie Savala, I honestly didn't think was a physical 10, so we'll have to wait and see. Although when I saw him, most of the work he did with Edinburgh, he was very much new and he was learning the ropes. And then he got moved on when they signed Ben Healy. So we'll wait and see. And second of all, from Luigi, Jamie Dobie is April's Warrior of the Month. The reason I've talked about this is that I'm actually, Johnny, I'm really quite taken with the fact with Jamie Dobie. He's someone who is, he's been like John Anderson talks about his passing and what a fantastic passer from the base he is, etc. But I've really quite taken to him being a winger, and he seems to be interested in taking the ball on and taking the ball forward. He seems to, and he's obviously been playing very, very well to get the fans behind him. I've got a bit of a quiet there because Johnny was meant to answer a question, but he's just absolute. I don't know whether his Wi-Fi is completely gone or something's happened. But I'll just say that I'll put myself in Johnny's shoes and say yes, Jamie Dobie good, Edinburgh bad. That's about it, really, is it, Johnny?
It's like you could predict what I would have said if I heard you, Craig.
Yeah. Okay. So I was just saying that Jamie Dobie, Warrior of the Month, he's done a really good job, and I'm really quite excited by the player. He's been playing very well for Glasgow.
Yeah, and this is another point of the episode where we would wish Alan was here, because Alan is our wee Highland representative. Jamie Dobie obviously comes from Highland RFC, and yeah, I think he's a natural 9 personally, and so he's doing 2 jobs relatively well. I think he's had some of not his best performances on the wing, but he's done well enough that he's there when we need him, and he still plays scrum half really well when we need him to do that. So a fairly worthy winner, I would say, just for his commitment to versatility, if nothing else.
Yeah. So we'll move on from Glasgow and move on to Edinburgh, who have been splashing the cash this week. Considering the amount of people that are leaving, they've got plenty of cash to splash around, I guess. First of all, Piers O'Connor, Mark, coming in from Connacht, or whatever you want to call them. Obviously spent a couple of years with Bristol as well, where I thought he was quite an exciting centre. But he's been signed in as he's Scots qualified again, or is he Irish qualified? That was the question. I think he's Irish qualified actually, but signed on a 2-year deal. Seems an okay amount of business.
Yeah, what's not like? He seems a very solid player. I wasn't sure he was Scots qualified because of some of the comments I'd read.
I think it's Irish qualified. I think I've made.
I haven't looked into that in any depth. well, we've effectively got two centres moving on this year in Matt Scott and Mark Bennett that we know about already. So an experienced player to come and replace at least one of them is probably a good shout. It's again, it's not a marquee by any stretch, but yeah, solid signing. I don't have an issue with it. I confess I haven't paid a huge amount of attention to his game style or how he might fit in the Edinburgh shape when Edinburgh get one.
Yeah, I think he's very much. And Jonny, you may have watched him a little bit, like if you've been watching the English Premiership as well. But when he was at Bristol, he certainly he's a straight runner. He's good at he's good with ball in hand and can defend. So, which is everything we kind of need in our centre. So it should be a good. I hope he's good business. James Lang, I thought, was a good piece of business because he was under the radar, English Premiership player, but he just really hasn't rung all the bells that we thought maybe he could have. But and Jonny, Luke Crosby, Connor Boyle, and Tom Dodd have all signed contract extensions. Obviously, Connor Boyle is injured at the moment, so he's only signed a 1-year extension. Tom Dodd, the back rower, 2 years. But Luke Crosby signs on again. Someone who has Jonny's played with. He's been difficult. He's had a difficult time with injuries, but certainly the best is yet to come out of Luke Crosby.
Yeah, you'd absolutely think so. He had a fairly sparkling couple of games for Scotland quite early in his career. He's got a high BQ, which is our favourite metric at the moment because he can be a real tough nut sometimes. I think he brought a bit of edge that Edinburgh really enjoyed having, that Scotland were maybe slightly missing. He is really abrasive. I think that probably is tied to the fact that he's spent a lot of time with quite niggly injuries and missed a lot of games. But when he puts a run of games together, he's a great player. He's a really tough player. And he's exactly the sort of person that Scotland want as well as Edinburgh. So hopefully, staying around on a contract where he can be managed a little bit more closely for a couple of years will manage to get him fit and get him back in the Edinburgh team, back in the Scotland team, and see what he can do.
Yeah, and Mark, Connor Boyle, untapped potential has always been one of my thoughts about Connor Boyle. Connor Boyle has been, he really came on the scene strongly from the under 20s, and he's always thought of, well, in my opinion, and also when I've been in the Lothian stand, he's talked about as a real Edinburgh player and someone who we really do love. But he's really been missing out the squad for the last season, and it'll be interesting to see how he goes once he's fit again.
Yeah, absolutely. I can remember watching the 20s years ago when he was playing and Darge was around the scene as well. And of the two of them, I thought Boyle was going to be the one that became the superstar. He had all the skills, seemed to have the attitude, etc., etc. I think he's had his fair share of injuries, but I also not convinced he's had his fair share of game time either. And the two things may be tied, obviously, but I think he's a very good player. Has the potential to be a great player, but like anybody in a specifically skill position, needs the game time, right?
Yeah, very much. It's that's one thing. That's the one thing that him, Muncaster, etc., all needed, and they all came through kind of together. But Connor Boyle, unfortunately, seems to, because of injuries, etc., seems to have fallen behind. And then we'll stick with you, with you, Mark. 12 players leaving have been announced as leaving Edinburgh. So quite a gut of players. We've got two retirees, Mark Bennett and Matt Scott. Dave Cherry's off to France. Jamie Ritchie's off to France. Ali Price is off to France. There's a fair few £1,000 that Edinburgh are going to be saving. Emiliano Buffelli, don't know where he's going, but he's off as well. It's Jamie Hodgson was actually a surprise for me.
That's who I was most surprised by. Was Jamie Hodgson. It's the old adage, isn't it? You can't train 6'8".
Yeah.
Has it been confirmed that Bennett's retiring yet?
Oh, well, I thought he was retiring, but maybe I'm wrong. I was under the impression he was retiring.
I haven't read that. I have heard people say that he's looking for one last hurrah. So,
Mark, my apologies for outing your retirement early. But Jonny,
Pruddy do or something like that for Bennett, I would think. Go and earn a bag of cash and get a suntan.
Aye, well, that's where all the other big stars are going from Edinburgh. They seem to be off. Although, talking about big stars, Johnny Javan Sebastian, he's leaving, and he's we're not. We don't know where he's going. I wonder if he's heading back to Wales. Okay, Johnny, are you just not talking to me now? Just because you don't want to talk to me?
The man you want to speak to, because you brought up Javan Sebastian. Now, the man you want to speak to about that is Grav from Rock and Roll, who I think is still running a counter on how long it is until he becomes Welsh again. He's obviously, fallen a bit down the pecking order in Scotland. He's fallen a bit down the pecking order in Edinburgh. He is.
Well, we've lost Johnny again. His Wi-Fi seems to be
a much better chance.
Oh, here we go.
You'd think in Wales.
Sorry, Johnny, you disappeared halfway through there after that wonderful speech about Javan Sebastian, your favourite prop. We lost you. We seem to have an issue with Wi-Fi.
Oh, basically, long story short, he's off to become Welsh again. That's what's happening with Javan Sebastian.
Right. Okay. Do you know where he's going? Have we found out yet?
I've not seen or heard anything. I mean, he came from a Welsh region. There's not a lot of money in Wales. I can't imagine he's going back there. But I don't see where else he's going to go.
Aye.
He came from Scarlets,
yeah.
So I don't know where else he's going to go. And back to Scarlets would be the obvious one, but I don't see it.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see. The real one I'm interested to find out is where the Boff is going, because someone who took my heart whenever he arrived in Edinburgh. I'm disappointed he's leaving, but obviously he's not been playing very much because of injury, etc. So I hope he's going to get a chance to play and get back to the Argentina squad, etc. But the last thing I suppose we need to talk about, Mark and Johnny, is Matt Scott retiring from rugby. Unfortunately, no Rory here tonight to talk about his favourite player. I've got to say, Matt Scott and Mark Bennett in the centre for Edinburgh were an absolute dynamic duo and something fantastic to watch. But Matt Scott, really someone who wasn't treated very well by Edinburgh when it came to someone who wanted to stay at Edinburgh, but unfortunately went off to Leicester, but seemed to, enjoy his time at Leicester, and he found a home. And he's been a fantastic player for Scotland and also for Edinburgh. Yeah,
he seemed to have a wee bit of a resurgence down south, to the degree that I know that some of us up here were saying, why is he not getting back into the Scotland squad?
Yeah.
Because he was playing very well. And, Matt Scott, was he not a product of Curry? Would that be right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, he's absolutely, if you want a poster boy for homegrown talent, Matt Scott is it, I don't know why he's been underutilized this last few months. I expected to see more of him, and he wasn't getting selected even when he wasn't on the injury list. But then same thing was happening to Mish, so who knows quite what was going on. But yeah, I think he's been a great servant for Edinburgh and Scotland, and he should walk away with his head up and a smile on his face, frankly.
Absolutely. And we have officially now lost Johnny McGinty, so I don't know if we're going to see him back or not again. He has, let's just say, his the message to us after he left was full of expletives, so I don't know if we're actually going to see Johnny back. But, so team for Ulster has been named for the Edinburgh v Ulster on Friday. We need a bonus point win, Mark.
Yes.
Yeah, we really do need a bonus point win. Magnus Bradbury's captain, the on fire man of the moment. Mish is in the team. Lang returns, and Harry Patterson as well. And Jamie Ritchie is on the bench alongside an absolutely outstanding Charlie Shield. The question I have, Mark, we seemed to do this last year.
Yeah.
We got all excited because we were lowly down. We thought we were going to qualify. We got our opportunity to qualify, built everything up, got excited about it, and then Benetton absolutely slapped us about the face. This time we're at home, I guess. So with Ulster, are Ulster a dangerous team, and should we be worrying about it?
Somebody was saying in one of the other pods the other day that Ulster are not dangerous because they've only won 7 out of 17, and if you look down at the win ratios, Edinburgh are, funnily enough, exactly the same. But I think the one benefit, two benefits we've got massively. First one, we're at home.
Yeah.
And the second one, Ulster have nothing to play for.
Yeah.
Ulster can beat Edinburgh by 5 points and they're still not getting into the playoffs. They're done.
Yeah.
They may or may not field a full team. I haven't seen. Oh no! Hang on. I did. Let me have a quick look.
Stockdale's in there, and so is Mike Lowry. They're all on the team along with
Nathan Doak and captain Ian Henderson. Rob Herring at hooker. Yeah. Cormac is Chukwu. Yeah. So yeah, I mean they're fielding a decent team.
Yeah.
But in the nicest sense, there's no reason for them to have much fire in their belly beyond fighting for pride, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I feel that Edinburgh should do it. But fundamentally, it's 6 teams going after 4 places. And I think the luckiest fixture for Edinburgh is not that we've got Ulster at home, but that Benetton and Munster are playing each other. So they can't both win.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I genuinely think that's the luckiest thing going on.
Yeah.
And that's tomorrow night, I think, as well. So,
that'll be an interesting one to see because if Munster are going to, if Benetton are playing the way that Benetton are playing, and we'll maybe talk about that in the Patreon side of things, but with Benetton playing the way they're playing and Munster playing the way they're playing, it could be an interesting one or an upset, that's for sure.
Big time. And it's, I think, let me just have a quick check. Yeah. And that's where it really does become amusing. I've been doing this maths all afternoon, just trying to work out what the connotations were. If Edinburgh don't get the the 5-point bonus win,
that
puts them on 48.
Yeah.
Which means that a draw between Benetton and Munster would send both of them through.
Yeah.
It has to be a 5-point win. It really
has to be a 5-point win.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that can be done. And then the other question will be, and we could maybe talk about this in the Patreon, is will a 5-point win save Sean Everett's Edinburgh career? And that's
I have a view on that that's probably best expressed in the Patreon rules.
Absolutely. And just to finish up, Glasgow are going against Leinster. no team announced yet, but Glasgow are really they're repeating. Life is repeating themselves because they last year they played a couple of poor games before the quarterfinals, going to the quarterfinals, and then did it the hard way. They're certainly they're going to have an interesting game this weekend up against Leinster. But again, this depends on what Leinster turns up.
Yeah. The question will be whether Leinster just got it doesn't matter, or whether they're still narked about the European result. I hate to say it, but I think it's going to be the latter. I think Leinster are still going to be tipped.
Yeah, I think they're going. I think Leinster. Oh, you have to excuse me, yawning away here. I think Leinster are going to have to. They are. Once they're in the quarterfinals anyway, so I think Leinster are going to be on full chat or full noise to try and win it, because this is all they've got to win now. They might get the Irish hubcap, but it'd be funny if they just got the Irish. It'd be funny if they just got the Irish hubcap with all the money they spent. But anyway, that's a different story. Bringing in Geordie O'Barrett and then getting a hubcap. Is this all we win? Is this? I can just imagine them sitting there. Is this all we win, guys? Yep. But yeah, I think Leinster will go full noise, but I'm not sure if they'll go full noise against Glasgow this weekend. They might bring in the second string team that could be quite dangerous as well.
Oh, yeah, and let's be clear. The Leinster second string will put paid to the Glasgow team if they turn up and play like they did last weekend. I know we're going to review that in the Patreon as well, but yeah, that's a scalping from Leinster twos.
Yes.
Yeah,
it'll be an interesting one. Yeah. So, well, we are going to call it at that. We're going to move over to our Patreon side of things, where we're going to discuss Edinburgh v Connacht, and also Glasgow v Benetton last week, and also any of our patrons or anyone who's messaged us with their hands in the rock, which is our what's been ripping your knitting this week in the world of rugby. So all I can do is thank Jonny, who has disappeared, and Mark. Thanks, Mark, for joining me. Thank you to Ev. Thank you to all of you who have tuned in, and we will hopefully be if you're a patron or you want to pay the money to come through into the Patreon, we look forward to seeing you in a minute. Other than that, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week, and thanks again. Cheers.
Cheers, folks. So this is just going to continue because Johnny's driving the tech, right?